Welcome back to Breslov campus. Some insights in the parsha of the week, Parshat Korach. This parsha gets a lot of attention in Rav Noson's writings because this, more than anywhere else, sticks out. This whole polemic of strife against Tzaddikim. Something so big, something very, very serious, something which Rabbi Nachman himself speaks about a lot, but Rav Noson is the one who really, he goes off tangent and really develops the ideas in this parsha. And just to explain what's going on here, what we're talking about, is that Rabbi Nachman, he says that for the sake of free will, for the sake that there should be a challenge in earning this point, there must be conflict and strife against Tzaddikim. Why? Because if now it were so obvious that Tzaddikim, true Tzaddikim, can help people, and they are the right address to turn to, and thus people would turn to them easily and get their rectification, get advice, get Torah guidance, get rectifications done, so the world would be rectified by now. But Hashem, in His amazing ways, wants people in this world to earn everything, to earn with effort and toil, to earn through your free will what you have to come to. Now, since the benefit of Tzaddikim is so great, just take a look in the Holy Zohar and in the Midrash and in the Gemara, how they extol the greatness of Tzaddikim, of being close to and receiving from Tzaddikim, because it's such a big activity and feat and accomplishment. There must be major opposition. Now, the format of this opposition, if it's from lowlifes and low people and wicked people, so it's obvious that people won't pay attention to them, won't pay attention to their strife and opposition, because who are they anyways? They're low people, low class people, people of no spiritual importance. So where is there a challenge? When it's big people, big even tzaddikim, who face and challenge other tzaddikim. The main display of this point is in this week's parsha, Korach, with what Korach did against Moshe Rabbeinu and his punishment. And something so strange, because Korach, again, wasn't a regular guy. He was very wealthy. He was even a big Torah scholar, believe it or not. He was very wise in the Torah. He wasn't a nobody. He knew his stuff. And yet, he opposed Moshe Rabbeinu. And the test was so severe that he managed getting many Jews convinced into the argument and opposition against Moshe Rabbeinu. So he said that it's serious because of his broad shoulders, that he carried a lot of weight in his word, Korach. It had major effect and influence on many people. And Rav Noson explains this continues from generation to generation. Because if now the majority of the Jewish people would be attached to the true tzaddikim, this is a very powerful statement. Rav Noson writes, Moshiach would have been here by now. The main impediment, Rav Noson writes this, listen carefully, the main impediment in keeping back Moshiach from coming is not that there are Jews desecrating Shabbat, or Jews who have no Torah education, or women dressed immodestly, or people speaking Lashon Hara, or people not saying Kriyat Shema. You can give thousands of reasons, religious reasons, why Mashiach is not here. Or because there's strife between people. It's true, there's strife. But the main strife, if you want to say that strife is the culmination of the main reason, the main strife, which is keeping Mashiach from coming, Rav Noson writes, is the opposition against the true tzaddikim. This is the main weapon of the evil side to keep Mashiach from coming and to keep Jewish people from realizing their spiritual goals, from actualizing and becoming tzaddikim. It's coming close to the true tzaddikim. What Hashem will do, for the sake of free will allow there to be what's called mefusamim shel sheker, false leaders. And these false leaders can even have spiritual powers. It's not a problem. They can use the Kabbalah, practical Kabbalah, and all types of hooji-booji and scary teachings and mystical teachings based on the Torah. They can have all that for the sake of free will, so that you should not find the true address, the true tzaddikim. So what to do? There's only one thing to do, Rav Nosson writes, is that a person has to daven a lot in life to ask Hashem to bring him to the true leadership, the true leaders, the true tzaddikim who can really help me come to my goal. And there's no assumptions that this must be the truth. Look at the guy, he has a beard, he has a kippah, he's teaching Torah, he has a yeshiva. It must be true, come on, right? That has to be recognized, that it's possible that this also is an impediment to the real truth, because this is how far the evil side will go to prevent you from coming to the real address. That he'll use Judaism and Torah and holiness and mystical powers itself to prevent you from coming to the real truth. It's a lot of davening. So Rav Nosson writes, the test in the time of Korach was very serious, and it was a miracle if somebody held on. There were those who held on. There were those Jews who succeeded in maintaining their attachment and commitment and trust and faith in Moshe Rabbeinu with all the opposition of Korach. Korach got not the regular people, he got the Sanhedrin. He got the top, the cream of the crop to join his forces against Moshe Rabbeinu. It was a real test. What to do? And Rav Nosson says this repeats itself every generation. But what happens in the end is those who oppose and those who join the opposition, they leave behind, and after they leave, it's recognized their mistake. When you look at the annals of history and you see afterwards what happened after certain persecutions and polemics and strife, you begin to see who was right and who was not so right. But at that point, it's history already, and it's too late. It doesn't help anymore, because Rav Nosson writes, the Yetzer Hara mounts opposition and attack to the tzaddik now, the tzaddik of the generation now, who can make a difference, who can change and help save the world. So once he is no longer the true tzaddik of that generation, so then everyone's eyes are opened up to see the validity of that tzaddik. But now it's too late, he's already passed. Rav Nosson brings the example of the opposition against the Baal Shem Tov. Who today doesn't respect the Baal Shem Tov? Chasidim, non-Chasidim, Sfardim, Ashkenazim, Teimanim, modern Orthodox, everyone gives a type of credence and respect to the Baal Shem Tov. But in the Baal Shem Tov's time, there was major opposition. There were stones and rocks being thrown at him and his followers. There was even a case of a woman who was so convinced by her leaders that she must stone the Baal Shem Tov that she tried to pick up a stone, and it was so heavy. So she davened, Hashem, please let it be considered as if I threw the stone at the Baal Shem Tov. And by the way, the Baal Shem Tov said that in heaven they gained tremendous delight from that woman's prayers. But just to show you how far it went, and how Rabbi Nachman, Rav Nosson they write that this is the main point. There's many offshoots, derivatives of this problem. Yes, there are people who are speaking Lashon Hara. Yes, there are people dressed immodestly. Yes, now there's the problem with the youth and Jewish people being exposed to forbidden sites on the internet and iPhones, etc. Right? Yes, it's this, it's that, and many rabbis and leaders, it says because this Moshiach is not coming, because of that Moshiach is not coming. It's all fine and dandy and true, but there's a cup that within it are all of these offshoots. And Rav Nosson and Rabbi Nachman explain, it's finding and locating the true leader. Once you connect to the Moshe Rabbeinu of this generation, you're in the picture. You're part of now what's called Tikkun Olam, the rectification of the world. But until you get there, and number two, to maintain your connection, what you have to go through. You have to go through a lot of attacks from Korach, people who are Korach, and again, they will come with big beards, long black coats, nice hats, whatever. They will come as Jewish leaders, and they will be there to push you away. What's needed is you have to be super duper strong in your honesty and your sincerity in looking for the truth and asking Hashem, open my eyes to the real truth. That, Rav Nosson writes, is the only way to find the true tzaddikim. Believe it, that when the Jews had this, at the time of Moshe and Korach, when they had this difficult situation, the Jews who attached to Moshe Rabbeinu, they did a lot of davening. It wasn't just an intellectual problem to resolve intellectually. No, they had to do a lot of davening, a lot of refining their emunah properly in Hashem and in His tzaddikim, in order to maintain their attachment to Korah, to Moshe Rabbeinu, because the test was very, very, very serious. We should learn from this parsha and remember this point, that really, really, this is the main difference of a person. Rabbi Nachman writes that the one item that one's whole Judaism is dependent upon is coming close to tzaddikim. You might say, what? You got to be kidding. There's Yom Kippur, there's Shabbat, there's mitzvot, there's Torah study, there's davening, there's putting on tzitzit, there's tefillin. There's so many items in Judaism that are very severe. And you come along, Breslov, you come along and say, coming close to a tzaddik? And the answer is yes. Because the tzaddik is the one who will give you the clear perspective of Hashem and the Torah and the tzaddikim, while in this world of concealment, this world of sheker, falsehood, and make it that what you're doing is really, really in the ball game. Because it's no longer a thing of doing mitzvot and not doing mitzvot. It's if you're doing your mitzvot and you're in the cup of truth or not. It's another stage, something deeper. That a person could be doing tons of Torah and mitzvot and everything, but it's all going to the other side, to the side of the evil. A person has to really, really be in the game, in the right address, that all of his Torah study and his prayers, everything he's doing, is taken by the side of holiness and not by the side of impurity. This is a concept that exists, unfortunately, that a person can be doing a lot of blessings and brachot, but they're not going up. They're not going to the right place. Even Rabbi Nachman talks about it. You can take a look at, for example, lesson 60 in the Likutei Moran, where he says how people's devotions, they don't go up. They're davening, they're learning, but Hashem has no pleasure from them because it's not going to the right address. And that's what we want. We want to make sure that the little bit I do is invested in the right place. It may be a little, but at least it's going in the right place. This is the idea of attaching yourself to tzaddikim, because they maintain that what you're doing does go to the right address and the right place.